All right, what is up, guys? In this video, super laid back, I just want to talk about the reality of making 30K a month at 24. And that's not recurring, but that was last month, and the month before that, we hit 30K in revenue, just over, I believe. And I'll post pictures of my Stripe account or whatever for proof. But I want to show you guys that it's not all cracked up to be if you don't have a sustainable business model that's based for profit. So right now, my name is Tyler Smurs. I help local service-based businesses get customers with Instagram. I teach them how to do it. So my value proposition is, instead of being an agency where you sign a contract and you might not like that agency, or you're in one for long term, and then you got to cancel them and go find a new one, and everything's done for you, or you don't even know how to do it yourself, or you kind of bring it in-house because that agency has you by the ropes. I teach businesses how to fish so that they can do it themselves, keep it in-house. It's just more fulfilling, right? It's an upfront fee, but after that, then they basically know how to do it forever. And that way they don't need me anymore, which sucks for me because the recurring revenue aspect is nice. So I've had clients say like, hey, I want to continue to work with you afterwards. And I don't know what that pricing looks like yet, or what I would even offer. Just besides like, hey, we got you from here to here. Now let's introduce Instagram DM ads or something else. So I'm working on putting that together. But as far as like actual revenue milestones, I started my first business, about 2.5 years ago. It was a local cabinet and service, or local cabinet and flooring business. And it was big jobs. I had a co-founder, all that, and I got out of that to get into the marketing space, which is what I love, right? It's my passion. I love golf too, but that's a whole nother story. I make golf content on the side for fun. But anyways, marketing, right? There's a lot of snake oil in the industry, because some people will tell you to do Facebook ads, some people will tell you to do Google ads, some people will tell you SEO, right? You never know what to believe. But I started that business, the cabinet flooring business, got out of that, and now I started the marketing agency. I was an agency guy at first, and then I switched from that to teaching, and it's much more fulfilling. I love being a consultant or a coach in that matter, instead of being, just, hey, do it all for me. And then, I don't really like, I don't like that model at all. I'd rather much teach someone how to fish than just give it to them. Even though the agency, like, we did get good results. I think this camera's like leaking down. There we go. Even though we did get good results for clients when I first started out, it's like, even if you did do great, then they want to bring someone in-house and train them, and then you're still out. So I was like, okay, how do we fix this? So started this coaching business, and it took me about, I don't know, 6-7 months to hit that 30K a month mark. And it was not easy starting out, right? But when you're charging high ticket, anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, right, for these programs, based on how long you want to work with me, all it takes is a few, right, to get to those higher levels, to that 30K a month mark. And so, a lot of it is great, and it's not, there's no cost of goods sold, there's no product cost, right? But you do have to pay your team. And so even though it's like, oh, cool, made 30K a month or brought in 30 last month, that doesn't include credit card. That doesn't, that's before any of this, which is credit card processing fees, which is, if you use Affirm, we use Affirm as a buy now, pay later platform. So we get all the cash up front to reinvest back into ads. But then our client, they break it down over a few months, 6 months, interest free, whatever. But they take 6%. So 6% of that, and plus I have a sales consultant who takes the calls for me. And then if they end up joining the program, he gets paid 15% commission, which I understand is higher than the industry average, but he's really good. I like him. One of my best friends from college. And then I have a setter who I also pay a few $100s to for every appointment he books that we end up, they end up joining the program or coming aboard. And so after all that, right, and then ad costs. Right now, our business model starts at zero every single month. So there's no like guaranteed income the next month, right? And I'm looking to hire a client success manager to help out on the back end as well. and roughly going to pay probably $3,000 a month for that. So essentially $6,000 cash in ads, because I'm spending $200 a day right now, because I know that, if we just get, a couple clients, that's totally worth it, right? But $200 a day, that's $6,000 a month plus another $9,000. I'm essentially starting in the hole $9,000 every single month right now, and I want to spend more on ads. But that's what we're starting on. So taking a bet on yourself. I'm 24. I know a thing or two about marketing, but I'm still learning a lot. And I've invested over $50,000 into my own coaching to help get me here, which is too much. But you get the point. Like I'm not afraid to use money to get to the next level, because I'm using it as a tool. Anyways, yeah. After all said and done, especially after paying the coach, which that's once that's out of the way, that's out of the way. But you see the 30 and you're so beyond blessed, because you worked your tail off to get there, right? Especially a few months in a row. But with everything else, it's stressful. It's like you think that your whole life changes, but I remember signing my first client for $1,000 a month, and I was just like, oh my gosh. He's like, yeah, and I was like, what? I expected him to say no. And then, I grabbed dinner with him last night, and it's awesome, right? I love the relationship I have with clients. But with that said, it's same thing with cost of goods. If you're in a product business, right? Or service business, as far as, you're doing a kitchen remodel, you still got to buy all the material. At the end of the day, you could say you brought in $1 million for that year, but that ain't $1 million profit. And coaching, of course, the margins are going to be higher, but it's still not you still, after you have a team, ad costs, all that, it's still not, as high as you think. So I'm so beyond blessed for that, right? And, I definitely want to just keep going and continue to work to get that, up and up. But at the same time, to everyone out there, whether you're my ideal target customer, a service-based business who's local, or you're an online coach or whatever, always remember, I would always chase profit over revenue. If we can figure out how to up our prices, or up the lifetime value of a customer, you don't want to pay your team less if they're doing a great job, right? But figuring out a way, how can we make this business more profitable instead of just chasing revenue, is that's a lot more fun, in my opinion, and stress-free of a life. Because guess what? Then you got to pay taxes, the old Uncle Sam. So it's really not that, unless you're doing some crazy months, revenue really does not mean much. So yes, I know the title of this video is Reality of Making, 30K a month at 24. It's something like that. I haven't even come up with the title yet, but it's not all it's cracked up to be, because it's not profit, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. Same thing with my first business, cabinet and flooring business. Started with a friend. We did $500,000 in the first 6 months, right? Working with flippers, and they were nickeling and diming us for everything, but that's a whole other story. That's why I like premium customers, premium clients. But our margins were super, super, super thin. I mean, we're talking 15% margins, right? And so we did $500,000 in revenue, but profit-wise, it was just, he had majority equity, and he wanted to go that route, the Walmart route, instead of, chasing the luxury route. So that's just, difference in opinion. But yeah, profit is, at the end of the day, what's important. So you can have all these people making flashy claims of, oh yeah, we brought in this last month. It's like, okay, what was that profit, right? And then people are like, oh, I don't want to tell you. They don't want to tell you how much they actually make, right? It's more raw. It's more personal. It's like, no, you can't flex revenue and then not tell me, actual take home. Because if it depends on the business, right? But if you're a coach and you're making margins are less than 50%, it's like, what are you doing, right? Obviously, if you're doing $100,000 pool remodels, then maybe 20, 30%, that's, maybe pretty standard. So it definitely depends on the industry, but you just continue to keep growing. Of course, there's going to be more problems as you get higher up and you continue to grow. And I love the idea of baking in some sort of monthly recurring revenue, whether For me, it'd be a membership or a continuation or maybe an ascension. Like, hey, we got you from 0 to 50K a month. Now, if you want to get to 50 to 100, there's going to be a whole new set of problems I can help you fix when it comes to the marketing side. So figuring that out, or if you're a local service business, getting people on retainer, you know, like a turf cleaning company, like, hey, once a quarter, we're going to come in and just absolutely get rid of all the, you know, your dog's urine or whatever. And just getting people on retainer so you can build the lifetime value of that prospect. And that's what software companies do, right? Like, they're willing to go in the red to get a customer on the front end, but they know that the churn on the back end, if that customer stays, right? Like if Netflix, no one really wants to cancel their membership. I mean, of course people will. You know, like they get all that and then it's $15 and they're like, oh, that's still too much, right? Like and they offer a ton, right? So, but software companies are willing to lose money on the front end to get that customer because they know in the long term, the lifetime value of that customer is going to exceed the customer acquisition cost that they spent to get that customer, if that makes sense. And so in my business, like I want to have that be positive up front, right? But with that said, like, yeah, if you're spending $200 a day on ads, right? And to some people that's nothing, and to others that's like, I could never, right? But if you're spending that much and you're starting from zero every month, and you know you have 2 weeks and you don't have a single sales call on your calendar, it's like, holy smokes, like you're just getting cooked. But you can't, but not being emotional about this, and I'm telling this to myself too, not being emotional about it is key. Because if you track your KPIs, if I know, hey, this is how much I got to spend to have this many conversations, to do this, then I'm fine. And that's why I have a personal account and a business bank account as well, because you don't want to combine the two. You'll go crazy. So anyways, that's the rant. Thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.